Tanks. They're just. I think the Bucks at this point are just going to run it out. They're just going to run it out at this point. 55, 54. Yeah, that clock's going down. So quite a game, I'll say. I'll admit I didn't think. I was thinking, along the lines, because it was a Bucks first game, like 42-14 or something, but it's.
I didn't think Billy Cole's prediction was really going to happen, but looking at the score, it's really close to 80.
It's, hardly, and the Bucks just run it up the middle, and that's another loss, and that's likely going to be the last game of the play, or no, last play of the game. So the final score is the Tanks 76, the Buccaneers 0.
That's going to be the last play of the game.
Wow. We thank you for coming out, and we thank you for listening on here. And it's the final 76-0. The Tanks scored first on a 29-yard pass to David Little. So then the Bucks got the ball, threw an interception to Chris Hill. He returned it 25 yards for the score, which is one of the many plays he made that led him to be the Quality Heating and Air Defensive Player of the game. And then Tanks got the ball back. Michael Clay scored on a 40-yard bomb. Tanks converted the 22-0. Next play on offense, the Bucks got the ball, fumbled. Then Torian Whiting scored, ran the fumble back in to about 30 yards, got the score. And then the Tanks. Listen. The Tanks got the ball and they scored, and then they scored again. 36-0. I think on a pass, and then it was just all downhill from there. The Tanks outscored the Bucks 34-0 in the second half. But we don't have stats to you at this point. We don't have stats at this point, but I'm going to say Swords probably, what would you say, Tania? Probably threw around for 250, would you say? And he had 5 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And A.J. Williams finished. He probably finished with well over 100 yards. Him and Micah Brown both. Micah probably wasn't too far from 100. Michael Clay had 2 receptions for 2 scores and about 125 yards.
Michael Morton.
Yeah, Morton. Guys are just making plays all over the field tonight. And, it has been a slobber knocker. Right now we're going to try to have a couple players sent up here. Usually we're going to try to interview the defensive player of the game, and then the offensive, which it's going to be hard for the offensive player. We chose for the BusMac offensive player of the game. We have chose the offensive line for a BusMac equipment transport. We definitely appreciate BusMac Equipment Transport as one of our great sponsors, and the offensive player of the game for them is going to be the offensive line. There's just too many guys today that had big games. The defensive player, and like you said, their next game will be May the 13th. It'll be at 7. Am I correct? We will double check that for sure. The next game will be at Carter County, where they will play the Wildcats. I know the Wildcats had a game just recently. They won, I believe, 20-12.
Yes.
And you were there,
yes,
Tania.
I was there.
What were your thoughts on the Wildcats?
My thoughts with CCW is the offense was fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say nothing negative in any bad manner or anything. They
Mm-hmm.
have some things to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But their defense was amazing because they have Sean Manley, who used to be a Tank, and
Mm-hmm.
also David Sanfiano.
Okay, yeah.
he was making amazing plays. And also Brandon Green. So I'm really interested looking forward to this game.
Yes, it's going to be it should be a great game. And one thing we want to conclude with that, we didn't have the opportunity early on. We want to say we want to honor and talk about one of our great fans. We'd like to take the opportunity to dedicate this time to one of our supporters, Andy Carver, who we sadly lost last year. Andy was, and I did not personally know Andy, but we have the deck out there that the tailgaters are at. That's where Andy always stood and cheered on the Tanks. He was all about Tanks football from everything I've heard and seemed like a wonderful person. He's survived by his wife, Charlene, and his 2 children, Derek and Taylor. And Andy, I want to say on behalf of the Tanks organization, we love you, we miss you, and your passion and kindness, it will live through this organization forever. And tonight is a great example of that. This game, as good as it was, as good of a win as it was, it's a bigger win for the International Pentecostal Church of Christ, who was we use this as an opportunity to raise some perishable or non-perishable food items for their food pantry, and they use this a lot to help underprivileged people in our community. And it's definitely a good opportunity to get out and to donate. And and looking like from the big pile of cans showing up there certainly is. So, all right. Well, Tania, I think that about wraps it up. So, all right. So,
and then we're going to be back with the offensive line and the player of the year.
It's possible. You know what? I think we'll probably, I'm going to say, because it looks like they're pretty wrapped up out there, we'll probably do tank talks for those. So, you know what? I guess, we'll close out with what we always like to close out with on Roll Tanks 1, 2, 3. So, all right. 1, 2, 3. Roll Tanks!